How long are we?
As long as you want to go, as short as you want to go.
Um, I don't know. Maybe. I don't know if I have enough things to talk about for 30 minutes, but
We was on the phone for like an hour and change, and
yeah,
you ain't even get
some of that,
started.
some of that is was like extra fluff.
And we gonna talk about your experiences with, working alongside and being, one of the people that I'm assuming you help them out at times.
um, I don't know. I don't know whether I would call it helping them out. I mean, helping them as far as like documenting, as far as the photography and stuff,
And that's important for these DJs to know, to make sure you have somebody to to document stuff, take pictures, take video,
Right.
because it
Exactly.
lasts forever. So
True.
we'll touch on that, and we'll go as long as you want or as short as you want. People are going to ask questions, and you know, we'll, we'll,
I don't have the answers.
whether we got answers for them or not, I don't know. All right, so I got all of them set up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let me close my door. Be undisturbed. I got the reel of real. Got the light going. Got the New York shirt going. All right, so I'm gonna turn you down, go live, make my announcement, and then bring you in.
Okie dokie.
All right. I think we've been on. And I think people are seeing this. All of it. Y'all seeing the background stuff. Oh man. Yo, we've been recording ever since. So everybody's seeing all of this good stuff. So it's good. Y'all get to see the background things of what we go through to get this show on the air. What's up, DJ Tommy Lee? So today, everybody, welcome. First of all, my name is Harry, the big dog, and this is the DJ interview, and it's Tuesday, and we're going to go every Tuesday at 8 p.m. ish. So welcome everybody from Twitch, welcome everybody from YouTube, welcome everybody from Periscope, and the various Facebook pages. We will be adding more social media outlets in the future. So let's bring on our special guest. And some of you already seen. She is one of the girls that you may not know, but you grew up with her and her voice. Let's bring in Renee Yearwood. Hey, how are you?
I'm well, Harry. I'm doing well.
How you doing today? How's everything going out there in New York?
It's okay. Right now we're trying to keep everybody out. Promo is adding states to the list every day. Like these people. We got to watch those. Don't come. So that's where it's at right now.
So we got a few people checking in, but I want you to introduce yourself and what you've done for this hip hop DJ community over the past
Um,
years.
yeah, right. 3 years. Yeah, around there.
So go ahead, tell everybody.
Okay. My name is Renee. Most people who know me from way back in the day probably know me more as Nene. I'm born and raised in the Bronx, in the South Bronx initially. Um, and My introduction to the culture of what became hip hop was actually when my parents bought a house which was near the Parkchester area of the Bronx, from the parents of Africa Islam. And up until that point, I didn't even know what DJ and MC and cruise and all that stuff was. Um, so that was my introduction to hip hop through Africa Islam, and then um, by extension, then to Africa Bambaataa, and being just really being immersed with the Zulu Nation. And so, like, I've known like Jazzy J and Red Alert and Bambaataa since I was about 14 years old, and hanging out in Bronx River. Um, just, Lisa Lee, like Pow Wow, all those guys were just, at that point, everybody was just basically just living and having fun. Um, there was no, it's nothing like it was now, but it was such a part of like everyday life, going to the party. It was an expectation that, you're going to find a party, whether it's in Bronx River or later on the Fever or in the parks. And So that was my introduction to the world of hip hop and MCs. And
How old were you when you got introduced?
14. I was
14.
14. And
Wow.
I was because yes, we moved there right before as I was entering high school, because I went to Norman Thomas High School. And from there, like I said, met, discovered, Islam, DJ Superman, and then the MCs that were with them: Donald D, LJ, Elroy, Kid Vicious, those
Wow.
guys. And so it from there, like, the reason that Harry has me decided he wanted to talk to me today is because my cousin, Tony Tone from the Cold Crush, is he and I first cousins. Our moms were sisters. And once I started going to parties, my aunt, Tony's mom, said, "Oh, Tony has a group." I'm like, okay. And myself and my friend Kim, rest in peace, Taste, one of the first Zulu queens, we started going to Cold Crush parties. And my thing was, I always had a camera with me. So I took pictures. Like, I have pictures from Bronx River, from, early Bambaataa, Islam, like all that stuff, and um, so I started being more so with the co-workers, Kim and I, and again, just documenting photos and traveling with them, like all over the place, all over the Bronx, Staten Island, all different places. And fast forward to Cold Crush actually making their first record, which was punk rock rap. And at the intro to that record, there's a couple. Most people don't have most don't listen to the intro, but at the intro, um, Kaz wrote Grandmaster Kaz. He wrote an intro, and it's basically supposed to be an English couple, and he starts off, with, "Say, hun, can you get that?" And I say, "Okay, darling." And you hear footsteps going to the door, and he says, "Who is it, dear?" And I say, "Oh my God, it's the Cold Crush," and I scream. Now that was done, but now Dougie Fresh basically also grew up with Tony, and Tony Tone from the Cold Crush. He actually knew Dougie Fresh from younger days, and before the show was actually released, I remember the day. because Tony lived on 180th Street and Bryan Avenue in the Bronx, and Dougie came, stopped by, and we went downstairs, and I get in the car, and that's when I first heard the show, and that sample of the "Oh my God" became like when Harry says like everyone has heard my voice and not known it. That's why, because that was sampled from punk rock rap, and I've been all over, like in Europe, all over weird places, all over the place, and you hear that, and you know, it's cool, and I honestly I don't. Most people don't know it. If it comes up in conversation, I'll tell someone. Years ago, people didn't never believe me, so I just really stopped even telling anybody. More people know it now. And again, the people when they find out, they're always surprised because I'm one of those fixtures in hip hop, but no one actually knew who I was.
Right.
And like I said, just being part of, Cold Crush. I'm officially the queen of the Cold Crush. If you ask anybody in the Cold Crush, I am their sister. And just for all these years, just being around them and traveling and hanging out. I mean, and not just hanging out at parties, but I have, we've done like Walk America in Central Park, and I have pictures, just doing regular stuff. Hanging out at White Castle after parties, things like that. So, but yeah, but that's why Harry wanted to talk to me today.
Yeah, I just found this story interesting when I did get a chance to talk to you about, we've heard your voice forever.
Yeah, right. It's crazy.
And I don't know how long it took you to realize, the impact that you had on a lot of DJs. I'm sure every DJ here, DJ Tommy Lee, DJ Dan Dan, Super Dave, I'm sure everybody either heard the show or they heard punk rock rap.
Right. But it's interesting because a lot of them, even though they know punk rock rap, they never played, like, didn't really paying attention much attention to the intro. So they never made the connection that was sampled, from that record.
Right. The voice
So
of
I
hip hop.
been, meeting DJ Cash Money, in Crotona Park, and Tony, Tony telling him like, oh, like that's the person that did the "Oh my God," and he was like, "Are you serious? Can I take a picture with you?" And it's cool, it's cool, but it's always kind of funny, because you figure like DJs know, they just know what's what and everything else, but a lot of times it's just, you just like, oh, that's a nice beat, or that's good. Let me, cut that up.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's the last couple of years, probably it's more so where I've met DJs who like Tony's introduced me to and said like, hey, do you know who this is? I was at a function. Actually, it was a DJ function up in Connecticut.
Okay.
In New Haven, actually, that they did a couple of years, and it was a networking situation. And I actually, that's the one thing I actually do try to always do. I go to like DJ functions,
Yeah.
to support the DJs, and because sometimes you just want to listen to music, and sometimes you don't realize. I was at SOBs and last year, and Red Alert was there, and you don't realize just how great of a DJ he is. Like he, you listen to him on the radio and stuff, but just to get a chance, like after all these years, to just kind of listen to him like rock, it was amazing. It was just so amazing. It was like, wow, and especially when I see Red and I see Jazzy, like Red and I always take a picture together, because it's like, wow, we're still here.
Yeah.
Like after all these years, we're still not just here, but we're still hanging out in the same places. And to see them still like relevant, still actually doing their thing, still being such great examples to other DJs coming up. To me, that's like, it's like those are my brothers.
Yeah.
So it's phenomenal, just to be able to kind of just see, my DJ friends, and family, and just to see everybody just, discovering new DJs, and it's something that's, we need DJs. We always need DJs.
Yeah, of course. Who's gonna play the music?
We always need DJs. And but it's cool, and I'm happy that I got a chance to be a part of, hip hop, as far as
Yeah.
it, and leave something that's part of like the legacy, it's part of the legacy of hip hop. There's a series of books actually, which were, I think it's called History of Hip Hop. There's like different volumes. And I had gone to another, DJ Rob Swift, before the whole pandemic thing. He would do like this Sunday, like a Saturday brunch at a restaurant called Queen's
Right.
Comfort. And it was, they moved now, but initially it's a little place, and they have a DJ set up on the counter. And so he invited Tony Tony Tone is one of his like mentors. So he invited Tony to come in and actually like do a set along with another female DJ. Her name is DJ Hustlecat.
Okay.
And the cool thing about her, I met her that day, is that she's like a classically trained cello player. When Beyonce played, I think it was for Kobe.
Okay.
She actually was she plays the violin, the violin player.
Wow.
For that. So but when I met her at DJ Hustlecat, but
Not her real government name, huh?
no. So when I went to this, so I saw that Tony was coming down to do this thing with Rob Swift in Queen's Comfort. So I, like I said, I'm going to go because, Tony's there, it's DJ, it's cool.
Yeah.
And they had in the restaurant, they had like books, like hip hop books and paraphernalia. And one of the books, Tony's looking at one of the books and he says, look, so in the book, it's actually, it's documented in the book, about me and the whole, they have, it's like with the Cold Crush and, and this character of
wow.
me. And that was the first time that I saw that, which was like, wow, that's so cool. But the person who wrote it like has no idea who that is. They just know, oh, and there's the I think it was like the sampled woman, the oh my god, something like that. So
DJ Tommy Lee, that answers your question. He asked, "Was you in the book?"
yes.
DJ Cam is checking in. DJ Howie D is checking in. What's up? So I really wanted everybody to be introduced to the Oh My God girl.
Yeah, and that's how Tony introduces me. Like this is I met Ralph McDaniels because I wound up on a panel earlier this year. Like it seems so long ago before this whole pandemic thing.
I know.
That there was actually normal life. So I wound up kind of being part of this panel, which it actually had to do with healthcare though. That was
okay.
That was moderated by Al Pizarro, who is I guess I don't know, he's the head of Hip Hop Boulevard. So someone didn't show up, so they wanted a woman on the panel, so I was drafted, and so during that, it was people telling people a little bit about who I was and stuff. So I met Ralph McDaniels at that day, as and I've been around him, all different places, taking pictures and stuff. But
Right.
that was Tony introduced me and said like, "Oh, do you know who this is?" So like I said, it's little by little, it's like, "Oh wow, really?" Like who knew?
So it was two things that I wanted to talk about. We talked about the oh my God.
Uh-huh.
The second thing I wanted to talk about was you kept saying that you were taking pictures and you were documenting everything. And I
Hmm.
think it's important for DJs to get pictures and video and document their history so they can have
Right.
something later on in life.
Right.
Tell me about, we talked before about the pictures you have of the Cold Crush, the types of pictures you have.
Right. So Joe Conzo is I love Joe Conzo. He is the part of the Cold Crush, and he is credited basically with taking the baby pictures of hip hop. Um, and like Joey, what it is like was always like he was official though. Like he had the camera. He took photography lessons. He developed his own pictures. Um,
Wow.
and so at the shows they would they would give out like professional pictures, the Cold Crush, to the fans.
Hmm.
And I was more like more so capturing the moment, like I mean I couldn't afford like a big setup or anything like that, so I had from I had like a 110 camera at one point, then I eventually got like a 35 millimeter. I've had like instant cameras, but just always having the camera with me, and just taking candid pictures. I love taking like candid pictures. Like, I have pictures um early on from like 123 Park, and pictures from like uh Mike C from the Fearless Four, and LA Sunshine, and um Lisa Lee, and from even from people from Queens, like the Disco Twins, because Cold Crush, went to, play it in Queens.
Yeah.
Um, and so I've just always kept them, and right now I'm in the process. I have so many. I'm in the process of actually scanning them, and
Tedious
trying,
process.
huh?
That's a tedious process.
Yes, it is definitely. Oh, for sure. And I mean, eventually, I'm sure, once the like the hip hop museum, actually really, because I know they're supposed to break ground this in next month, I believe they're supposed to break ground. Um, but I mean, hopefully some of them, some of my pictures will wind up, in the museum, because like I said, I mean, I have pictures. My friend Kim and I, who I mentioned earlier, um, again, we would kind of just, it's especially the summertime, you're just kind of wandering at a certain point, you're
Right.
wandering, and so I remember we went to Mount Morris Park is in Harlem, and I remember going to Mount Morris Park. It's me, her, and another friend of ours, Pat, and who's there but Sal from the Fever, Curtis Blow, um,
Wow.
Lovebug Starsky, you know, so AJ, DJ AJ,
Hmm.
so having a camera to capture that, and they were there playing basketball because they used to play. I didn't know this until recently, but Sal was talking about it at the pop up museum for the hip hop museum. Um,
Hmm.
Sal was talking about how they used to go down there because they actually used to play basketball, and they were part of starting like the Rucker tournament.
Right.
So, but again, like just taking pictures from just hanging out with people, and documenting that. I actually recently gave Curtis Blow a copy of one of the pictures because I saw him. He had come to New York to the Bronx to actually go to the pop-up museum for the hip hop museum down by Hunts Point. And
Wow.
so I made a copy of it. It's a copy of him and actually Lovebug Starsky,
Mm.
and gave it to him.
And you said they were all playing basketball?
They were out there playing basketball, like Lovebug Starsky, he's eating ice cream and stuff. Like it was just more like I said, it becomes a more matter of like, okay, so when you're not, at the Fever or T Connection or Ecstasy Garage or the Roxy or whatever, like what do you do? Like,
Mm.
and it's, they
You
hang
play
out,
basketball
play
and then write a
ball.
song about it.
Yeah, right, exactly. Exactly. Like he was dead serious. He played basketball. So but yes, it's so important to if you can, to document um just things that you may not even think it's that important, um but it is. It's because it's still part of your own legacy,
Yeah.
even just for your own family, for your own kids, your grandkids, even, so it just becomes important a lot of times just to, and especially now, like, the cameras on the phones are so
So
great
good.
now.
Yeah.
So you can, I mean, people do it all the time now. They have their own personal person on the stage with them, doing their photos and stuff. But I've always been a camera person. I mean, I'll use my phone to take pictures and stuff, but I typically will have a camera with me. Even
I,
now, like,
I remember when we first met and that picture,
oh, in
uh,
Crotona
this
Park.
was about, yeah, in Crotona Park,
Crotona Park.
of me, Paul, and Tommy,
Yes.
and the way we were sitting.
Yes.
That was like the ultimate picture for me. I still got it.
Yeah, because it's like I said, I love taking. I don't mind. You take pictures when people are posed and stuff, but I also, let's say if there's a group of people taking the picture, like I'll zoom in and take a picture of only two people in that whole group, because
Wow.
everybody else is not taking that shot, because it's like it's special. It's just different, whether it's how they're leaning towards each other or take a picture of their hands, their sneakers, like things like that.
Yeah.
Because it's actually tells a story about our times. It tells all of it. Well, it all tells a story of our times, and it's important.
Yeah. So, let me check and see if we got any questions. We got DJ Howie D. He said he got some flyers on his page from back in them days.
Yes, I have flyers too.
We got DJ Tommy Lee said that's how entertainers entertain, in 120 155th Street got started.
Mm.
And he was saying, because he was in that picture too, he's like, that's the best pick. So how was it back in the day growing up with all these people, your Red Alerts, your Africa Islams, your DJ Jazzy J's, before they even became who they are now?
Red Alert and Jazzy J are the same exact people as they were then. Like, always just like respectful, like when people talk about them now, as far as like how they carry themselves and everything else, that was them. And even, like from Islam and those guys, like, because they were truly about their music. I mean, and if you think about it, you know you look and see, okay, so who's still doing it now?
Yeah.
And you could tell then, because they were about their music, they were about the systems and the funk machine, and and
Yeah.
the brothers disco, like Uptown with Breakout and Baron in them, and they're still relevant today. I mean, they even up in like Mount Vernon, they had done the DJ, the sound system battle, like maybe I don't know if they did it last year. They did it the year before that and year before that. Where basically, and again, it was just the two systems at the end of the streets, and it was phenomenal. It was. I mean, and
Really?
the you and the thing that makes it so great, because the last one was like the Brothers Disco, which is like Breakout and Baron
Uh-huh.
and the Sasquatch system against oh my god, what is his name? I can't think of his name. But the person that they brought in this guy from Philly, who I forgot what his name is as well, but they brought him in to basically judge. And but my thing is to look at the people who came to watch and to listen. You had DST up there. You had um, what is his name? Grand was it Supreme, the DJ, like Jazzy Joyce. Like you look to see which DJs come out because they're fans too,
Right.
you know. And that's what's so interesting, because you look around and it's like, wow, look at, you see, because they'll come out. Why? Because they're fans as well of a good sound system and DJ skills, and it's actually so cool to watch. When you see them like just like standing there watching somebody, and you feel like, wow, but like he's so and so, but they in their heart, that's what they live for. That's truly what they live for. And you know like I said, even Bambata, the same person, as he was then, always like treated me like a sister, and welcomed me, going to Bronx River, everything. Mr. Biggs, like I said, they always like I can never say that I wasn't treated well. And it helps when you come in the van with the records, so it's like, okay, you're down, okay, you get from, like, now I'm behind the ropes, like I'm good. um and but like I said, it's a, it's an experience, that like I'm grateful for,
Right.
to have like witnessed, like the beginnings of hip hop. And like I said, they were about their music and about their systems, and you see that they're still doing it, because
Right.
it's like they knew then that this is what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. If I can do this, this is what it's going to be. And you see it, when you see the ones who have had such longevity, in the
Yeah.
culture.
Were you ever there at any of those legendary battles that we had on cassette tape, and we had like the 12th dub version of?
Oh, well, I mean, the I mean, I was there for, of course, the Cold Crushing's Fantastic Battle. I was there for, um,
Okay.
and it's funny because, of course, like I'm Cold Crush, so, but and they'll say, and if you talk to, like even like Kaz and them, they'll say, oh, it was more a matter of, um, who was, as far as the girls were concerned, who was cuter, so we're going to
Yeah.
scream for them more, even though Cold Crush, killed it, as far as I'm concerned. I was there when Kumo D and Busy B battled as
Wow.
well, and that was like one of those, when Mo D comes out that,
Legendary.
yeah, he's like, like, hold up, Busy B, I don't mean to be bold, but put that ball, buddy, ball, and everybody just like said, like, just died, like, oh my god, like, it's wow, but I've known Busy B since like junior high school, because he and his sister and I were in the same grade, so I've known him since way before like anybody.
Wow.
So, um I just recently, it's funny because I've been around, and just recently, like last year, I went to him. I'm like, because I wanted to know, like, okay, do you remember me? He was like, yeah, I remember you. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. But yeah, but like I've known him for a long time.
Wow. Any moment that you can recall like was the best?
Um,
I know it was so many of them.
I don't, it's hmm, like I mean, going being in being in one of the things I remember, like being in Bronx River, and one thing that I always give Bambaataa credit for, when they say they call him the master of records,
Hmm.
um, because I remember being in Bronx River and him playing. It was a country song, and I thought it was, you think like, wait, am I really hearing that? Um, but it went with what was going on. It was like it's almost like you hear it and then you don't miss a beat. And I remember that moment like really distinctly, as far as like wow, like you know, it's about music. You know,
Right. It is.
it's truly about music. Not about any specific, just to put it in this box or that box. As a DJ, to me, it's like if you know music, you're so far ahead of anybody if
Yeah.
you know music, you know. And I was reading Rakim's book, his that he came out with last year, and one of the things he said was, um, if he said like he would be listening to music which most people like, it could be a pop song,
Right.
but he'd find himself like tapping his foot to it, and you think, look, like, why? Like, I wouldn't normally even listen to that. But he said, but the thing is, the fact that it was a good song, like, regardless of
Right.
the genre, it was a good song anyway. So, um, that's one thing that kind of I just remember, as far as like that moment of like, wow, it's truly about music.
Hmm.
Um, and then with Cold Crush, there's like so many different times and stuff. The boat rides, the Norman Thomas boat rides were always stood out, like, for me. I mean, I'm a graduate of Norman Thomas, but they were just special because, like, you got dressed up, and you
Yeah.
got new sneakers, you got like every it was an event. It was such an event. And then again, it was the Cold Crush was there, but who was also there? Fantastic Five, Treacherous Three, and those guys still to this day are they're like they are such brothers. Even of course you're going to battle each other years ago, but if you go and they're having something, who's showing up? Whether it's Fearless Four, Mike C, Sunshine, it's truly good to see that,
Yeah.
um, and to see the support. So that's the main things that I remember, as far as like things that stand out. As far as like Cold Crush, it was always, a lot of it is just parties and parties and parties, you know, parties and just events, being on the train, on the subway train, like, and taking random pictures with whoever's on the train, um,
Hmm.
and so like I said, it's there's the okay, we got a party, and then there's like, okay, so then okay, but what if there's no party? What are we doing? Like, we got to get to the party. How are we getting to the party? Let's take pictures of that.
Yeah.
And again, it's just me taking pictures, you
Yeah.
know um and just documenting it. So, but
Yeah. I really think it's important. I know everywhere I go, I whip out my camera and I snap a few, unless I get mixed up in the
hmm
crowd and in
uh-huh.
the energy of it. But
hmm
I know I'm always taking pictures. I got gigs and gigs and gigs of pictures
hmm
that I just download and don't even look at again. And then a year later, I'll go through and
hmm
it brings back all those memories of,
oh, absolutely.
wow, we was there, you know, one
Absolutely.
one of the pictures I remember, they have a junior high school called Sousa up in the Edenwald area,
Mhm.
and I forgot DXT. He was
Mhm.
there, and me and Paul, we were standing back to back to him and
Mhm.
took this picture. And I forgot we even took this
Mhm.
and seen it, and like it took me right back there.
For sure.
That's what those pictures do, and just documenting your whole career so you can have some stories and proof.
Right. Right. Exactly. Exactly. That that I was there, because a lot of times you have people who are not from the culture of hip hop, and they want to try and document things or write things, um, and sometimes they don't go deep enough to actually get the sort from the source, and that's one of the things is like there's so many of the pioneers who are still here,
Yeah,
and you can actually get to the source, versus getting it like third hand,
right.
you know um so it's important, that when people are writing things, to actually, go to the source, I mean, that's the one thing about hip hop in its inception. It was always like a kind of grassroots thing.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I always love about Crotona Park is, and I have my godson's dad is from Harlem, but he was too young to go to Harlem World, but he is
Hmm.
such an aficionado of hip hop. Like he loves it. Like he has a got his DJ set and everything else. Um, and so he wanted to come to Crotona Park, and so when he came afterwards, he was like, the fact that he said these guys, they just like here, they're so humble, like I introduced him to different people, and he's like, oh, can I take a picture, with them or whatever? And he was just so like impressed and touched by the fact that everyone was so humble,
Right.
from DJ Scratch being in the park, and Cash Money, and Kaz, and he was just so like, wow. And I said, but that's hip hop.
Yeah.
That is truly hip hop. It's not supposed to be, I'm on this pedestal and don't come, you can't come within 6 feet of me because my bodyguards are here. No, I remember my youngest son, he must have been about maybe 9, 10 years old, and he and I were walking in the Bronx on like White Plains Road near Parkchester, and
Okay.
Bambaataa was walking towards us with another guy. And so we're walking towards each other, and I stopped, and we stopped to say hi to Bam, and so I told my son, my son knew who Bambaataa was through me,
Right.
and afterwards he's like walking around with like no bodyguards. I said, I'm
He's a regular person.
like okay, like he's like that's how it is, that's how it's supposed to be. I said he's not gonna be like that, like, oh, you can't walk up to me and say what's up, like,
Hmm.
and that's what I always like loved seeing with the Cold Crush, like always like being a part of the crowd and being a part of the people, you
Yeah.
know, and people respect that from whether it's Cold Crusher or Red Alert or Jazzy J, like
Yeah.
all of them, they're such, they have never forgotten, the roots of, like, okay, in order to do this, I need people, you know. I'm doing this for the people. I'm not doing this like I want to
Yes.
share this with, the people.
Hmm.
So
We got a question here. International DJ Tommy Lee says, "Were you there at the Cold Crush versus the Force MDs battle, or the Force MCs as they were known back then?"
yes, but you know what's funny? Like I don't remember a lot of it. Like I don't remember. I was there, but I don't remember. It doesn't stand out as much as like the other battles.
Right.
It,
That
it,
was
it
the legendary we had on tape, which was the 15th copy
oh,
dub of a dub of a dub of a
of a
dub.
dub. Yeah, I mean, I was there, but I don't remember like it as distinctly as the Cold Crush Fantastic, Moldy, Busy Bee,
Yeah,
um, ones like that. So, but yeah.
nice. If you got any questions for the Oh My God girl, put them in the chat box. We're gonna start wrapping this thing up. So, what are you guys working on now? Any new stuff coming out? Anything that the Co Crush that you can share that nobody else knows?
No, you'd have to talk to them. It's you know what? It's funny because I truly like to me my relationship with them is actually it's like the sister in the middle of the brothers.
Oh, okay.
So it's like truly like that type of relationship. And then like when I talk to Tony, I'll ask him like, okay, if you're anything, because pre-COVID, it's like so what's going on, like who's doing what or whatever, you guys, and typically he would typically be like my source of okay, like we're doing this or we're doing that or whatever. So or he's doing different things, or if Kaz is doing something, I'll go and support that, or if AD is, and I actually try to do that. I try to support all of them, like Joe Consul's having a photo exhibit, exhibition. I'm gonna go to that. KG is doing something. AD is doing something in Connecticut. I'm going there. If I'm available, like I truly, truly try to support them, like all the time.
That's
You know,
good.
I really try to support them. I mean, Jazzy was doing this on like, it was like on, he was doing on like Friday nights. I think it was Friday or Saturday nights at this place called Friends and Lovers in Brooklyn.
Okay.
Little place. And again, it's DJs and I went down there a couple of times. One time, the first time I went, it was just, he hit me up and he's like, I'm like, oh, you know what? Sounds interesting. Let me run down and hang out or whatever. And went down there for that. And then another time he had Scratch was there, with him and stuff. Like I said, little place, but packed,
Yeah.
like it's just great. It's just cool, And then because then I went for to celebrate Jazzy's birthday, because then I gave him a picture, an old picture of him from I don't forget what year it was, 79 maybe, something like that.
Wow.
Yeah, so
I
I
bet he was
blew
surprised
that up.
to even
Yeah,
see.
yeah, yeah.
And
So
that's what pictures do. That's what the documentation does.
yeah, for
Man,
sure.
maybe we'll get Tony on here one day so I can ask him firsthand.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I sent him an invite, because it's like I said, these guys are still here, and
Yeah.
like they can
And they
tell their
have
own
stories
stories.
to tell. Yeah, they got plenty of stories. And that's what this DJ interview is about, to let the DJs tell their story before somebody else tells their story.
Right, exactly,
So,
exactly. That's so true.
we'll find them all eventually one day. We'll
Uh
get
huh.
all everybody you named, Red Alert, Jazzy J, all
Mm-hmm.
of them one day.
Sure.
So I don't see any questions. Do you have anything that you want to put out? Any
Um,
shout outs?
Shout outs, no. But I will. This is just a more of a public service announcement, because
Mm-hmm.
I'm an optometrist by my career is an optometrist. I'm an eye doctor, and make sure that you get your eyes checked. If you are, like certain things like glaucoma run through, our community, has no pain. It won't make you see blurry, not like cataracts, anything like that. But if you're above the age of 40, and you are a person of color, you should get your eyes checked to get your eye pressure checked. If you're diabetic, you should get your eyes checked at least once a year. If you're hypertensive, the same thing. And that's just my soapbox, you know, because it's important. And there aren't many eye doctors that look like me.
Mm-hmm.
So, or a male version of me. They're, we're there, but we're not really, that common.
Prime.
So,
Yeah.
so sometimes you just, need somebody to share information with you that cares about your well-being a little bit more.
Yeah.
So,
Get your eyes checked. I get my eyes checked every 2 years.
okay.
I'm blind for half the day because you put those drops in and everything is bright.
Yes, I went through that today, as a matter of fact. Yep, I went to get my eyes checked today.
Oh, that is so funny. An eye doctor getting her eyes
Yep.
checked.
Once a year, I got to do it.
So we are about to wrap this up. DJ Tommy Lee said, great info and thanks, Renee.
Thank you, Tommy.
It was a pleasure having you here. I just wanted to introduce everybody to the Oh My God Girl and mention stuff about document.
Right.
It's nice to find. I know Tommy, we go way back. He got a picture of us when we was kids. He's got pictures of us. I didn't even remember when we're certain places in Virginia, standing in front of Norfolk State,
wow.
that stuff. And you just look at it, and I didn't remember. And you got to believe it because you're in the picture.
Right, exactly.
So document everybody. Just get a camera, get somebody to take your pictures. I'll come take your pictures for a small fee. Renee will take it for a larger fee. And thank you so much for coming on and sharing with us.
You're welcome.
Your experience.
You're welcome.
All righty. We will talk to you soon.
All right. Take care. Have a good night.
Right. So once again, Tuesday, our DJ interview. This was a little different because she supported the DJs, and I don't think half of you even know who she was, but now you do. So we will be back next Tuesday with another exciting DJ interview. I am Harry the Big Dog, and I am signing off.